Here we go now. Hour 3 of our radio program. Nice to have you with us in Connecticut today. No high heat as we fly. Eddie Erickson's in the house. So is Colin Schmeling. As we take you home here at 888 Mad Dog 6. That's your two-way sports talk telephone number on this weekday afternoon on the 18th day of April. Baseball today. We spent a lot of time on that. Let's get off that for a bit and give you a little potpourri here at the top of the hour. When the playoffs begin in the springtime for the winter sports, the two big ones, hockey and the NBA. I'm not talking about college basketball, hockey or college hockey. College basketball, the NBA or the NHL. 32 franchises get a chance, and that's way too many. But 32 franchises get a chance to play 4 rounds, win 16 games, and win a championship. This year, there were 5 cities that doubled up. So there were 27 cities this year, well, communities for that matter, that had a chance to win both an NBA and an NHL championship. Now, it's happened before. I'd have to go back and look. I think the Celtics and Bruins did it once. It's happened before. The Knicks and Rangers almost did it in 94. It's happened before. Well, this year we had 27 because we have 5 communities / cities that are double dipping. Boston's got the Bruins and Celtics. Washington's got the Caps and the Wizards. Minnesota's got the Wild and the Timberwolves. That's 3. Philadelphia's got the Sixers and the Flyers. That is 4. And the last team out there was one more. Let's see. I know there was one more. Philadelphia, Washington, Boston, Toronto, 4. And Minnesota 5. So the Raptors and the Leafs, the Bruins and the Celtics, the Caps and the Wizards, the Flyers and the 76ers, and the Wild and the Timberwolves. So 5 teams. Right now, on 1 weekend, 4 days in NBA, 1 week NHL. Last Wednesday was the show over the NHL store, the 11th. 1 weekend, we are down to 26. And the most unlikeliest team has advanced. Who would have thought at the beginning of the year that the Golden Knights of Nevada, Las Vegas would be A, win a division, and B, sweep an opening round playoff series? So what Vegas did, just so unlike, just an incredible performance. What Vegas did is somehow win a division, become a what are they? I think they're the 3. Are they not? No, they're the 2 seed. Win the division, play the Kings, and knock them off, and allow 3 goals in 4 games. Win all by 1 goal, and one of them in overtime. They win 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, 1-0. Fleury plays great, and Las Vegas eliminates the first team of the 27 still left. The first city now is out. Now we have 26. Compliments of the Golden Knights. Think about that performance. I thought, and I went along with Barry Melrose and others who thought the same thing, I thought the Kings would be a factor in this series. You know, Quick's a great goalie, have experience. You know, they had Doughty, they had Kopitar, and not that I know the team that well, Dustin Brown, but I just figured that the Kings on pure moxie alone, and I also thought that Vegas would have their bubble burst after such a tremendous year. Boy, was I dead wrong. Although the games are close, and these games are an inch, you know, somebody hits a pipe, other team doesn't hit a pipe, these games, there's a very fine line between winning and losing in these games. The margin is very, very slim. And, you know, in this case, the Knights did not hit posts, and the Kings, like Brown did with 10 minutes to go last night, third period, who did, you know, they were a little unlucky. But Vegas was the better team. 4 lines, better transition game, a little quicker, a better team. So Vegas is the first one into round 2 in the NHL. Number 2 in the NHL, and then we'll get to the NBA. Number 2, I would be a little worried now if I was Columbus. The Capitals are a franchise that we all know is, you know, combination snake bit, combination a little soft. They just get tight, black cloud over them the whole bit. Washington yesterday. No, I didn't see the game into this double overtime. I was out at a meeting. I did not see the game. Followed it on the phone, but I didn't see the game until the second overtime. Washington was stuck in molasses. They lost the first 2 games of that best of 7 to a Columbus team with a goalie who had not been good in the postseason. They lost both games in overtime. They had leads in both games. And the Capitals last night, who had 2 leads, who got the game tied on them in the third period, they were ready to go. One more goal by Columbus, one more break in the overtime or in the second overtime, and I believe Columbus had a power play. I believe, I'm not positive about that, in the second overtime. Maybe they didn't. I'm watching so much the hockey, but the bottom line is that Columbus had some chances to win that game, and all of a sudden the Capitals got a lucky goal that hit off a skate on a good attack play. They got Holtby back in there now, who did not start in the first 2 games of this series, who has been a disappointment in the last couple postseasons. Still a good goalie, but a disappointment. And all of a sudden, winning that game in double overtime, you saw the look of dejection on the Blue Jackets' faces, and you saw just incredible exuberance by the Caps. They were very excited. Sometimes to go out there and to slay the dragon, I've said this 1,000 times to teams that have major curses. Sometimes you need to really hit the abyss. And in a lot of ways, the Capitals did that in the first 2 home games in this best of 7 first-round NHL Eastern Conference Series. And they hit it again last night and got out of it. I would not be shocked if they came back and won that series and made a big playoff run. I would not be shocked. That's number 2. The Wild were unlucky. Winnipeg is dangerous. Off the 6-2 loss the day before, or 2 days prior to that, they turned around and shut out the Wild last night, but no Parisi. They got a defenseman who's out. Good win by Winnipeg. They're 3 games to 1 up. So they will play the winner of Nashville-Columbus. So those are your 3 hockey last night that were interesting. The Caps, I think, are alive and well, and the Vegas team, hard to believe that they're in the second round. You got games tonight. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia off 2 days off, game 4 in Philly. You have the Leafs and the Bruins, 2 days off for them. That's tomorrow night. I apologize. And then the other Eastern Conference game tonight is the Lightning in New Jersey against the Devils. They lead that series 2 games to 1. And then in the West tonight, you have Colorado and Nashville, and then you have San Jose and Anaheim. So you have 4 games tonight in the NHL postseason. No, I'm sorry, San Jose Anaheim's tomorrow night. So you just have a couple games. You have Nashville and Colorado tonight. You have Pittsburgh and Philly tonight. And you have the Devils tonight against Tampa. And then tomorrow night, you got Toronto and Boston in game 4. And you have San Jose and Anaheim in game 4. So and Winnipeg, Minnesota will play April 20th. So they won't play until, when is April 20th? That is on Friday night. So they don't play for a couple days. So you have the 3 tonight and a couple tomorrow night. That's the NHL. I told you that Toronto needed to go out there and, not fool around, make that first game stick against the Wizards. They had a huge first quarter. They scored 40-something points, and they buried the Wizards, and they go 2-0 up in that series. They had a 40-something, 44-point first quarter. They outscored Washington 44-27. Never really looked back and won the game. I don't know if that game got real close. I know that game, they were up 10 going into the fourth quarter. I don't know how close that game got. But the Raptors now lead that best of 7 2-zip. They should advance. I thought the Celtics would win a closer game last night than the game that they did end up winning. They win by 13. They were up by 11 at the quarter, 9 at the half, 15 going into the fourth quarter. So they won going away. Jaylen Brown had 20-something points. Rozier had 21. Boy, they got a lot of talent. And remember, folks, they don't have Kyrie Irving and Hayward. And they got Tatum, Horford, Brown, Rozier. They still got a bunch of these players. I mean, he is some coach, too. I'll tell you that right now. And Boston now leads that series 2 games to love. So a good job by Boston. The big game was last night late. I saw the first half. Portland was winning at the half 59-54. So imagine my surprise when I woke up this morning and saw the final. And really an easy win for the Pelicans. I know they had to make some shots late in the game, but still 111-102. Holiday is playing tremendously, and they lead that series 2-0. Here is the thing about that series that none of us picked up on that we should have. If Holiday and Rondo are going to play this good, And Rondo's been great. Holiday's had a great 2 games. And he, of course, had a rough year. His wife had the brain tumor when she was pregnant. Had a rough year. But if they are going to play this well, as these two are, against Portland, that is a backcourt-oriented team with Lillard and McCollum, if they are going to basically match them, they're going to win. Because that means they can make the backcourt a wash, and the Trailblazers don't have anybody to deal with Anthony Davis, because Davis is a 25 and 15 minimum every night. So if he goes 25 and 15 every night, and that backcourt scores, 40 points or 45 points, with 15 assists combined, as what they have done, they can't lose that series. It's impossible. And I'll tell you right now about New Orleans right now. They got a lot of gas in their tank. They played very well late in the year. They won a game in Phoenix. They won at Golden State. I saw the game. Golden State played that game hard. No Curry, but they played the game hard. Durant and Thompson played. They won the next day against the Clippers in L.A. to secure a playoff spot. And then they won the last game of the year against the Spurs to make sure they avoided the Warriors or Houston in the first round. They got a matchup they can deal with. New Orleans right now has got a lot of gas in the tank. Now, I think they're going to win this series now. Maybe in 5 games, maybe 6. I can see Portland winning a game in New Orleans. They better win game 3, but I can see them winning a game in New Orleans. Right now, the Pelicans are a dangerous team. You heard Lockley the other day. They might be better off without Cousins. They're a dangerous team. They got probably one of the top 3 or 4 players in the league. They got a good backcourt. Rondo's as good as anybody, and they got momentum. They would be a good matchup for Golden State. They won't win, but that would be interesting to see Golden State deal with them, because Golden State actually is going to have a matchup problem with Davis. He's much bigger than Draymond Green, and Durant doesn't want to have to work that hard defensively to have to deal with him, because it's going to take away from his offense. That series could be interesting. 15 after the hour, we continue. Mad Dog Unleashed.
Lock it in. It's Mad Dog.